we are diving into something today that I think a lot of people are talking about these days, AI headshot generators.
Yes.
You know, you're on LinkedIn, you need to update your profile picture, or you need some type of professional photo.
Right.
Photographers, they can be expensive, right?
They can be.
And all of a sudden, this whole new option is exploding in popularity.
Yeah, it's really fascinating
Is so.
how fast it's caught on.
Yeah.
And it's not just the, the cost-saving element. I think there was a study recently that showed that certain recruiters are actually starting to prefer
Really?
AI headshots to traditional ones.
Huh. That's interesting. I would have thought that the real photo would win out every time. Why do you think that is?
It seems to come down to control.
Okay.
Consistency.
Right.
AI offers this incredible level of customization.
Mm-hmm.
You can tweak the lighting, the expressions.
Wow.
Even erase that kind of bad photo day look altogether. Yeah. And so for a busy professional, that level of control is a huge time saver too.
Absolutely. Okay,
Yeah.
So time-saving, cost-effective. We're seeing why it's popular.
Yeah.
But how do these AI headshot generators actually work?
Right.
Is it magic or is there some real tech behind it?
It's not magic, though. It can feel like it sometimes.
It really can.
The core technology is something called generative adversarial networks,
Okay.
or GANs for short.
Yeah.
You have two AI algorithms that are working together. One generates images.
Okay.
The other acts as a critic, constantly refining the output
So
until it's indistinguishable from a real photo.
it's like a digital artist
Yeah.
and a digital art critic just in this constant feedback loop,
Exact.
pushing each other to create the perfect image.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, I've got this article here from tech.seco.
Okay.
And it's all about the best free AI headshot generators in 2024.
All right.
Should we take a look at some of these?
Let's dive in and see what we got.
Okay, first up is Remini.
Remini.
And I feel like I've seen this name everywhere.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Remini went viral on TikTok last year,
Oh, really?
known for generating these surprisingly realistic headshots.
I think it even topped the App Store charts for a while.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, people are definitely catching on.
Definitely.
So Remini has a 7-day free trial,
That'd be standard.
which seems pretty standard. You can use it on both desktop and mobile.
Yeah, which is great. A lot of versatility there.
Yeah.
It's also good for fixing those little glitches
Okay.
that AI can sometimes create, the weird hand everyone's been talking about.
The infamous AI hand.
Exactly.
Okay, so Remini for realism and glitch fixing.
Yes.
Next up, we have MyEdit,
My edit.
boasting a huge range of backgrounds, or you can even remove them and use your own.
Oh, wow.
So it sounds like a lot of flexibility there.
Yeah, a lot of creative control with this one.
Okay.
Almost like directing your own little photo shoot.
I like that.
You can tailor the background to match your personal brand or your professional image. It's like you're not just accepting what the AI spits out, you're actually collaborating with it
Right.
to create the image you want.
Exactly.
All right, so MyEdit, there's a free plan,
Okay.
but it has limited downloads, and then there are affordable paid plans if you need more.
Yeah, it seems to be the common thread with these free options.
Okay.
It's kind of like a taste of what the tool can do.
Yeah.
But then you're going to hit some limitations
Gotcha.
if you need to generate multiple images.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Hmm.
All right, moving on to Instasize.
Instasize.
And this one's all about controlling facial expressions, apparently.
Oh, Andrew.
Over 130 filters to play with.
Wow, that's a lot of filters.
That's a lot.
And this is where we're kind of seeing AI move beyond simply capturing a likeness.
Right.
It's allowing you to project a specific mood or a personality.
Like choosing the exact emotion you want to convey.
Exactly.
Almost like a director giving notes to an actor.
Exactly. I
Right.
could see that being really helpful.
Right.
Yeah. It is mobile only, though.
Okay.
And again, the free plan has some limitations.
Yeah, that mobile-only thing could be a drawback for some people,
Yeah.
especially if they're working on a larger screen.
Right.
But for those who are constantly on the go,
Yeah.
it might be perfect.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Next up is LightX.
LightX.
And it's getting high marks for realism and ease of use.
Yeah, from what I've seen, LightX is ideal for those who are prioritizing a natural look.
Okay.
Avoiding that too perfect feel that AI can sometimes produce.
Yeah.
The free plan is a good starting point,
Okay.
but fewer customization options
Well.
compared to some of the others.
Like, so LightX, if you're looking for a more straightforward,
Yeah,
realistic approach, that might be the way to go.
I think so.
All right. We have two very different options now.
Okay.
Dreamwave AI and Headshot Pro.
Okay.
Dreamwave is interesting because it is specifically designed for team headshots.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Makes sense, right? Teams need that consistent professional imagery,
right.
and AI can really streamline that process.
Totally.
So Dreamwave is a clever solution.
And this one was developed by experts from Google and MIT.
Wow.
High-resolution images, free plan with limited photos,
As always.
of course.
Yeah.
And then there's Headshot Pro, which seems to be
Okay.
at the opposite end of the spectrum, used by big names like eBay and Shopify.
It's interesting how Headshot Pro caters to both individual users and large corporations. It
Yeah.
really highlights that broad appeal
Right.
and the potential applications of AI in this whole world of professional imaging.
Yes.
So they offer a basic free version,
Okay.
but the paid version is where you get that full range of customization,
Right.
plus a money-back guarantee if you're not happy.
So from free and basic to highly customizable with a money-back guarantee,
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot of variety out there.
There is, and I'm guessing we'll see even more options popping up in the near future.
Absolutely. This field is evolving so rapidly.
Rapidly.
It's an exciting time to be exploring these tools. But before we get too carried away with all the possibilities, I think it's important to remember what you said earlier about the free plans,
Yes.
often having limitations,
They do. It's a crucial point. You might end up spending something eventually,
right?
even if you start with a free option.
Of course.
It's all about weighing your needs and how often you're going to be using the tool.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Yep.
So we've got a good understanding of the technology behind AI headshot generators.
Mm-hmm.
We've explored some of the top contenders in the free space.
Yep.
Where should we go from here?
Well, I think it's important to acknowledge that while AI headshots offer this convenience and control,
Right.
the technology isn't perfect.
Yeah.
Sometimes those AI-generated images can end up looking, well, not quite realistic.
Yeah, I've definitely seen some examples where
Yeah.
the results are a little off.
Yeah.
It's almost like you can tell it's AI just by looking at it.
Right.
What causes that and how do you avoid it?
It often comes down to the quality of the AI algorithm and the data it was trained on. Some tools are simply better than others
Right.
at producing natural-looking results.
Okay.
That's why it's so important to do your research, read reviews, and maybe even experiment with a few different options
Right.
before committing.
Good advice. So choose your tool wisely.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to experiment a bit.
Exactly.
Anything else we should keep in mind?
I think the most important thing to remember is that these tools are meant to enhance your professional image,
Right.
not replace your authentic self.
Hmm.
Use them strategically,
Yeah,
but don't let them define you.
that's a great point. It's all about balance, right?
Yeah.
Using technology to your advantage
Exactly.
while staying true to who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back. So we've kind of unpacked the how-to of AI headshot generators,
Right.
but now I'm curious about the bigger picture. You know, what kind of ripples is this technology sending through the world of professional photography?
It's a good question, and it's definitely shaking things up, I think.
Yeah.
You know, you have some photographers who see AI as a threat
Right.
and others who see it as an opportunity.
I can see both sides of that.
Yeah.
On one hand, if everyone's using AI to generate headshots, what happens to the photographers who, specialize in that kind of work?
It's a valid concern.
Yeah.
There's definitely potential for disruption there, but
Yeah.
I think it's more likely that the role of the professional photographer will kind of evolve rather than disappear.
So not necessarily replacing photographers, but changing how they work.
Exactly.
What might that look like?
Well, for example, they might focus more on high-end artistic shoots
Right.
where human creativity and expertise are still highly valued.
Okay.
Or they might specialize in areas where AI isn't as advanced yet,
Right.
like
Yeah.
capturing candid moments or, telling visual stories.
Yeah. So AI might handle like the more standardized technical aspects of photography. And that frees up the human photographer to really focus on
Exactly.
the artistry and emotion.
It's finding the right balance between technology and human skill.
Right. And it's not just about individual photographers either. This technology could have a significant impact on the industry as a whole.
Absolutely.
In what way?
Well, think about pricing and accessibility.
Okay.
AI headshots are significantly more affordable than traditional photography,
That's a good point. Yeah.
which could open up opportunities for people who maybe couldn't afford
Right.
professional headshots in the past.
It levels the playing field.
Exactly,
Yeah.
making it accessible to more people,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of their budget.
Yeah. And it could also lead to like more experimentation and creativity.
Totally.
Like, because the barrier to entry is lower.
Right.
People might be more willing to try different looks and styles.
Absolutely. I think it's democratizing professional photography.
Yeah.
In a way, making it more accessible and empowering people to take control of their own image.
Okay, so we've talked about the impact on professional photographers.
Right.
And how AI could be making professional imagery more accessible. But what about the impact on us, the users?
Right.
How does interacting with these AI-generated images affect how we see ourselves?
That's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Because this technology is tapping into some deep-seated anxieties and aspirations I think we all have
Right.
around identity and self-presentation.
It's true. Yeah, we all want to put our best foot forward, especially in professional settings.
Right.
But is there a risk that these AI-generated images could create unrealistic expectations?
It's a valid concern if we're constantly bombarded with these idealized, flawless images.
Yeah.
It's easy to start comparing ourselves and feeling inadequate.
It's like comparison is the thief of joy, right?
Exactly. And AI is making it so easy to create these perfect images
Right.
so it could amplify that pressure.
To conform to a certain standard.
Exactly. And it's not just about comparing ourselves to others. Yeah.
It's about comparing ourselves to these AI-generated versions.
Right. So instead of accepting ourselves as we are,
Right.
with all of our imperfections, we might start striving for some unattainable ideal.
That's the risk.
Yeah.
It's important to remember that these AI tools are just that, tools.
Right.
They can be helpful for enhancing our image,
Right.
but they shouldn't define who we are. Our value lies in our skills, our experience, our personalities,
Yeah.
not just in a picture, no matter how perfect it might seem.
Such an important point. It's so easy to get caught up in appearances,
Yeah.
especially in the digital age. But true confidence comes from within, from knowing and accepting ourselves for who we are, flaws and all.
I couldn't agree more. It's about finding that balance
Yeah.
between using technology to our advantage
Right.
without letting it distort our sense of self.
And that's a conversation we need to be having,
Oh, that's
not
right.
just individually, but as a society.
As a society, this technology isn't just about individual choices.
Right. It's shaping our collective understanding of beauty,
Totally.
identity, professionalism.
Okay, so we've covered the impact on professional photographers,
Right.
accessibility,
Yeah.
and the potential effects on self-perception.
Yep.
What other aspects of this technology should we be thinking about?
Well, one area that I think often gets overlooked is the question of ownership and control.
Interesting.
When you upload your photos to an AI headshot generator,
Yeah,
what happens to those images?
Right.
Who owns the copyright to the generated images?
right.
These are all questions that are still being worked out legally and ethically.
Yeah. It's easy to get caught up in the convenience and the coolness of the technology.
Right.
But we need to also be thinking about the potential implications for our privacy
Absolutely.
and control over our own image.
It ties into a broader conversation about data privacy
Yeah.
and the ethical use of AI
Yeah.
as this technology becomes more widespread.
Right.
We need to make sure we have, clear guidelines
Right.
and regulations in place to protect individual rights
Yeah.
and to ensure responsible development.
It's like we're in this exciting new frontier.
Yeah.
But we're still figuring out the rules of the road.
Exactly.
It's a lot to consider.
It is.
So where do we go from here?
I think the key is to approach this technology with both enthusiasm
Okay.
and a healthy dose of critical thinking.
Yeah.
Embrace the possibilities, but also ask the tough questions.
Yeah.
Demand transparency from developers. Advocate for ethical guidelines.
Right.
And be mindful of how you use these tools yourself.
So take an active role in shaping the future of this technology.
Exactly.
Rather than just passively accepting whatever comes our way.
It's about using AI to empower ourselves, not to erase our individuality or to create unrealistic expectations.
That's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us for this thought-provoking conversation. Okay, so we've really explored the ins and outs of these AI headshot generators.
Sure.
The good, the bad, the potentially concerning, and the questions that we still need to answer.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here?
Right.
What can we do to make sure that this technology is used in a way that benefits everyone?
Well, I think it starts with recognizing that AI is a tool.
Okay.
And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad.
Right.
It's up to us to
Right.
shape how it's developed and how it's used.
Okay, so let's get practical.
Mm-hmm.
What can developers do
Okay.
to make these AI headshot generators more ethical and responsible?
Transparency is key.
Okay.
Developers need to be upfront about how their algorithms work.
Right.
what data they were trained on, how user data is being used.
Yeah.
No more hiding behind the curtain of AI magic, so to speak.
Right. Users deserve to know what's happening behind the scenes,
Absolutely.
especially when it comes to something as personal as their own image.
Exactly.
Anything else on the developer side?
Yeah, they need to be proactive about mitigating bias in their algorithms.
Okay.
That means using diverse and representative data sets for training. So the AI isn't just churning out images that conform to narrow beauty standards.
So reflecting the real world
Exactly.
with all of its beautiful variety.
Yeah.
Making sure that the AI isn't promoting one ideal of beauty over another.
Right.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. What about us, the users? What can we do?
Be informed consumers, understand the limitations,
Okay.
the potential biases of these tools.
Right.
Don't just blindly accept the output.
Yeah.
Experiment with different settings. Question the results.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to reject images that don't feel authentic to you.
So take control of the process.
Exactly.
As your own judgment.
Yep.
And don't let the AI just dictate your choices.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what about those who just aren't comfortable
Right.
with AI headshots at all? What are their options?
Well, collaborating with a photographer who specializes in authentic and inclusive portraiture is always a great option.
I love that.
Someone who will take the time to capture your unique personality and style
Right.
rather than trying to fit you into a mold.
And honestly, sometimes the best headshots are the ones that aren't overly posed or polished.
Absolutely.
A genuine smile, a relaxed posture,
Yeah.
a spark of your true self. I mean, those qualities shine through no matter what.
They do. It's about being comfortable in your own skin and letting that confidence radiate through the image.
Okay, well, let's circle back to something we talked about earlier, the impact of AI headshots
Right.
on hiring practices.
Yeah.
What can employers do
Yeah.
to ensure fairness and avoid potential bias?
Well, first and foremost, they need to be aware of the potential biases that we've talked about.
Okay.
Don't rely solely on AI-generated images when you're evaluating candidates.
Yeah.
Look at the whole picture, resumes, cover letters, portfolios, interviews.
Or focus on the skills and experience and qualifications
Exactly.
that truly matter for the job.
Yeah, and be transparent with candidates about your expectations regarding headshots.
Okay.
Let them know that, using AI is perfectly acceptable.
Right.
It's not a requirement, and that hiring decisions will be based on merit, not just appearances.
Transparency and open communication
Absolutely.
are so important, especially when it comes to something as sensitive as hiring decisions.
It is.
I think it's also important for employers to really foster a company culture that values diversity and authenticity.
Yes. Create a workplace where people feel comfortable being themselves.
Right.
Regardless of how they look.
Exactly.
Or what tools they use to present themselves professionally.
So what does this all mean? What's the takeaway for our listeners?
AI is a powerful force,
Yes.
and it's changing the world around us in really profound ways.
Yeah.
It's up to us to shape how it's used,
Right.
to ensure that it's used ethically, responsibly, and for the benefit of all.
Well,
Whether you're a developer, a user, or an employer,
Right.
we all have a role to play in this conversation.
It's about being informed, being critical, and making conscious choices.
Absolutely.
And above all, remembering that technology should serve humanity,
Yes.
not the other way around. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the world of AI headshot generators.
It does.
We covered a lot of ground, from the technology itself
Yeah.
to the broader societal implications. But this is just the beginning of the conversation.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on this evolving landscape?
Yeah.
How do you feel about the use of AI in professional imaging?
Mm-hmm.
What steps can we take collectively to ensure a future where technology enhances our lives
Right.
while respecting our values and our individuality?
It's a big question.
It is a big question. So join the conversation online, share your thoughts,
Yeah.
and let's continue exploring these important questions together. Thanks for joining us.